Go to Jerusalem right now, listening to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel.
Lately, Mr. Erdogan, Turkey's Prime Minister, had an interesting thing he did. He said in Hebrew that we Jews should go according to our Bible, and he said in Hebrew, Lo tirtzach, don't murder, you shall not murder. But I want to ask you, Erdogan, how many Kurds did you murder in the last month? I want to say, one of your military staff said that you murdered 100 Kurdish rebels in Turkish airstrike. So I want to ask you, how many Palestinians did Israel kill in the last month? Nobody. Okay. I want to ask you, Mr. Erdogan, how come you have the nerve to accuse Israel in occupying? You are occupying Cyprus for 63 years. So how come you are accusing us of occupying while you are occupying Cyprus yourself? By what right are you criticizing Israel? Okay? So let's talk about minorities. You've got your Kurdish minority, and maybe you regard them as citizens, but you're trying to erase their culture. You even have rules that they shouldn't speak their language, and if they will speak the language or learn their culture, they're going to jail. And there are children who are in jail today because they demonstrated for their culture, for the Kurdish culture. And I want to remind you that things like that in Israel never have been thought, because Israel, Arabs, minorities, have full rights as citizens, and they've got Arabic as the second language in Israel. There are also Israeli Arabs all the rights to go to high court in Israel. Even Arabs in the occupied territories can go to high court in Israel, which tends to rule in their favor. In Israel, in Turkey, I know that the Kurds are forbidden under penalty of life imprisonment to speak their native language, learn their heritage and the history of the Kurds. This thing never thought to occur in Israel, because they speak their own language, they learn in their school their Arab heritage, and if Israel was now an Ottomanian or Turkey, under Turkey ruling, God forbid, so the Arabs and the Jews won't have any rights, like the Kurds don't have any rights in Turkey. So I want to remind also that the Kurdish minority is not really a minority. There are 30 million people, and they don't have their own state. I don't understand why Turkey is so frightened of the Kurdish people. Why they don't let them establish their own state in another country. They occupy and they murder, and Mr. Erdogan, you have the nerve to lecture Israel. Let's remind how you attacked the Kurdish resistance. Let's see how you, Turkey, murdered and killed 30,000 people in the early 90s. And let's recall how the UN stated facts of the UN. According to the UN, more than 2 million Kurds in eastern Turkey have become refugees. Nearly 30,000 people were killed. So you turned 2 million Kurds into refugees, and you killed 30,000 Kurds. So how do you have the nerve? How do you have the nerve to lecture Israel? Who are you to lecture Israel?